Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Mason. Welcome back to everyone who's already a subscriber to the show. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe so you can see more great interviews, including the one coming at you right now with an undefeated 3-0 pro MMA fighter who also had an undefeated amateur record, including a former amateur champ for 247 Fighting Championships, and will be one half of the main event or co-main event. In this case, co-main event for Brawl in the Burgh 27 going down at the Murrysville Sports Arena at Brawl in the Burgh 27, March 15th is the one, the only, Steel City Lucas Seibert. Champ,
Hey,
welcome
what's
back.
up, brother? What's up, man? How you doing?
Always great to have you back on the show. Welcome back. Very excited. You have really, you were great all through amateur, but you really lit up as an incredible prospect. Undefeated 3-0, two stoppages, coming off the stoppage of Eddie Alvarez back there for Brawl in the Burgh 24 that went down October 26th. And just to kind of kick us off as we start talking about March 15th, and I know you've been on the show to talk about this fight, but you took out a guy, third round TKO, who had already had 15 pro fights, was in his 16th pro fight in your third pro fight. Coming into this fight, what does it mean like now, several months removed, to know that you have tested yourself against, a durable veteran of the sport as you continue to ascend in the pro rankings?
Eddie was a challenge. And I think it's just like, he's a veteran. He's been in the game. He's hard to finish. And, that fight, it showed me a lot, like even outside the cage on, ways I need to live and do stuff. Mostly like diet, just a lot of like life stuff. And it was a good learning lesson for me. So I think that fight, like, I got the finish. I don't think it was my best performance. I would honestly like argue it was one of my worst, but you know, I went in and still won under pretty bad circumstances. I wasn't 100% healthy. I wasn't, it was one of those days where I was backstage hitting pads. I was like, you know, not feeling great. Had two teammates lose, and still overcoming all the BS that came with the day. I was able to focus and get the win at the end of the day. So I think it proved a lot to myself.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Always great. Thanks for sharing kind of some of the behind the scenes and being able to perform, maybe not at your best and still put in a performance like that is obviously what makes you such an exciting prospect. You are headed in against Cameron Jordan, who has 12 pro fights already, coming into his 13th. So another very established veteran. This time he has a 7-5 record. So certainly something where he's got more wins than losses. What are your thoughts on this co-main event for Brawl in the Burgh 27, March 15th against Cameron Jordan? What are your thoughts on him?
I think Cameron's like he's a tough dude. That's definitely the toughest guy I've fought. There's no doubt. And he kind of scares me a little bit. And I think that's going to bring out the best in me. Everybody I fought that was, in my opinion, had high skill levels. That brought out the best of me, and I fought my best fight in those fights. And it'll be no different. I'm somebody that I could get tagged up in training every single day, but when the lights are on me, I'm going to go out and I'm going to show out. And I've been that guy. I know I am that guy. And, I'm ready to go perform against somebody that's really good and surprise a lot of people as I've done for the last 3 years.
Well, it's a great mindset to have. I'm sure, like what you said, some people may be surprised, but I would think now at least the Pittsburgh faithful, you changed your fight nickname a couple fights ago to Steel City. You said on Facebook, you're born in Ohio, were raised in Ohio, but you're really, as far as being formed into a fighter in Pittsburgh, stout Pittsburgh, which we actually didn't mention so far this show, but you talk about them all the time. What's it like knowing that a lot of Pittsburgh faithful, particularly 247 faithful, where you had your amateur debut, won an amateur belt for 247. What does it mean to you to be developing a fan base that, while maybe some people would still be surprised because you're 3-0 as a pro and taking out Cameron Jordan, who's 7-5, obviously that will be a big thing. But what does it mean to you to know that there will be a lot of people in attendance and in the region of the Pittsburgh area that actually believe that you are going to not only win but continue your ascendancy?
Honestly, man, I think I love being able to perform in front of all the people that I train with every day, people that I love, people that I'm friends with, people that are family. It means a lot. It's a really cool and unique opportunity, and I don't take it lightly. I love Pittsburgh. I say it all the time. Like you said, I was born in Ohio. This city kind of like has played a major role in my life as I transition from being like into young adulthood. Um, and it's really special, and I really hope that I can continue to fight in Pittsburgh a little bit, and also branch out. This is my last fight on my 247 contract. So we'll see what happens next. I'm focused on Cameron, but um, you know, just being able to fight in everybody means a lot. I love it. And I love the city, and I love everybody coming in attendance.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I was going to ask you because you had said on Facebook, encouraging people to come out, the Pittsburgh crowd to come out and see you in person, because you had said this might be the last time you're fighting in Pittsburgh for a while. I was going to ask about that. You've obviously mentioned that you're fighting out your contract with 247. Obviously, you're fights in to your pro career. So can't wait after the fight to kind of talk about what's next, all those things. We kind of hold off, but it is great for people to know that this is at least the last time you can guarantee that you have a Pittsburgh fight. We don't know the future, but it's the last guaranteed Pittsburgh fight. Can't wait to kind of see how everything goes. You're the co-main event alongside Kama the Death Star Worthy. And I know Kama the Death Star Worthy runs his own gym, but everybody in Pittsburgh kind of cross-trains. And I'm sure you've been on cards with him before. But what's it like being the up-and-coming undefeated 3-0 fighter? A lot of people looking at you to continue your career up and one day be in the UFC and all those exciting things. But also see a guy who's, 25, maybe 30 pro fights in, was the first ever pro champ for 247, went to the UFC and is now back. What does it mean to you to kind of be a Pittsburgh legend coming up, fighting alongside co-main event with a Pittsburgh legend as well, as far as fights go?
It makes sense, in my opinion. Kama's like, I mean, he'd admit this. He knew the tail end of his career, right? And it's kind of like a passing of the torch type of thing. Um, Hopefully, Justin's in the UFC this year. Um, Kama's gonna be off the better things, and hopefully Ethan makes it to a big promotion. So if Pittsburgh's gonna stand behind anybody, it should be me. And I've kind of I've done all the right things. I've fought in front of everybody, and even when I go on the road, it's I'm gonna be the guy to back. And I train here, don't plan on leaving. It's special, man. I love working out with Kama. He's a fun dude to have around, just in general, him and his brother. And I was working out with him at the UFC gym on Thursday with Cody Law, and it's just like it's cool. It's cool. I've earned my respect um in the gym with the fighters. I've earned my respect in terms of like the OGs, like help me out. They work with me, and that's something you have to earn. And I've done it in my career. And, I really, really appreciate being on a card with Kama. The first card I fought on, I believe I was like debuting. I was like one of the first three fights, and Kama was the main event. And now I'm right underneath him. And if he sticks around, I'm going to be in front of him.
Well, I looked it up because I wanted to kind of check it out. You were the main event of your last fight. Obviously, cards change around. You already have main evented a 247, so you've already had the perspective. I remember your debut. You were definitely one of the first couple fights when you debuted. And and now you've already had a main event at a pro as a pro for 247 and soon to be co-main event. You're a very easy fighter to get behind. You've made Steel City kind of your you're very connected to the city. Do you want to make a prediction? Do you want to kind of say what you think's going to happen, put out something, call your shot, that type thing, or what are your kind of parting points on this upcoming fight, co-main event for Brawl in the Burgh for 247 Fighting Championship, Brawl in the Burgh, 27 March 15th, which is kind of the St. Patrick's Day event, I guess, at Murrysville Sports Arena. What are your thoughts prediction wise?
I think it's gonna be a dogfight. I think you guys are gonna see what I already know, and that's a bad motherfucker. And I'm gonna go out and prove it. Um, it's gonna be a fun fight. I predict a third round finish. But I do think it's gonna be my best self that comes out there, and I'm gonna rise to the level of the fighter that I'm fighting against in Cameron, and I'm gonna have an amazing performance. And if there's anybody to get behind, man, I always put on a show. That's a fact. So come and watch March 15th.
I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly why I was sitting cage side when you landed the jumping knee in your pro debut against Jake Zach. And then that led to a TKO. And then obviously the fight that you just had was a TKO. You absolutely do put on performances every time. Can't wait to see it. I've already said it, March 15th. People need to buy tickets from you or 247fighting.com. If people are watching this as you know, as your fandom spreads, they're not going to be able to make it in person, although that would be best. Make sure they get the 247 Live app. That's the best way. Download it. You can watch it on any smart device, and that's the best way to pay-per-view. Really appreciate you coming on. As always, my honor to have Steel City Lucas Seibert on the show. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Luke. Appreciate you, brother.
You got it, brother.